So, as I'm sure every single person watching this is aware of, Nintendo has finally released the successor to the Switch, very appropriately named Switch 2. As of the writing of this episode, the NS2 came out roughly a month ago, and I was lucky to get one on launch day during one of my local GameStop's midnight releases. Since this was the first console launch that I was old enough and financially stable enough to actively participate in, I decided to go the full 9 yards with what I picked up on day one. So, altogether, I got the console itself, the Pro Controller, the camera, a Nintendo Express SD card, and both physical versions of Mario Kart World, as well as the Switch 2 edition of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. Overall, this came to about $847 total, and now that I've had my Switch 2 for around a month and played as much of the content available as I was willing and able to, I thought it would be fun to make a video talking about my experience so far with the console and just take an overall look at the launch. Let's get started. Starting with the launch itself, I actually feel as though it was handled pretty well. I had done some research and stumbled upon GameStop's deal of being able to come on Thursday at 3 p.m. to pre-order launch units and accessories, of which you would come back for when the console released at midnight. So I called up my local GameStop around 12:30 and asked if they felt I should even bother coming. I was informed that they had 50 launch units, and that there were around 10 people already in line. So I rushed down and found myself 17th in line. Sitting there for the few hours that I did, it was nice talking to some of the people that were sitting around me and to just feel like I was in a community. Special shout out to the woman next to me who has worked for GDQ. You were a wonder to talk to. At 3 p.m., they start taking people in one by one, handing each a number after purchasing. So back home I went, anxiously awaiting midnight. As 11 rolls around, I head back down to get back in line, and when it was finally my turn, I walked out with a new console to play on launch day, and I can't begin to describe to you how amazing that felt. I got home, installed everything, did the updates, and given that it was 3 a.m. at this point, went to bed and dreamed of playing all day the next day. Now, in terms of the console itself, I really like the new Joy-Cons. I had similar concerns to everyone else about that little nub on the inside, but although time will still tell on that topic, I do feel as though it's a lot sturdier than I at least initially expected. In terms of pure size, this thing is a beast. I have a Switch OLED model, and I thought that was big for a Switch. This pales in comparison to it. With that size, I was expecting to also be quite a bit heavier too, and in that department, I would say that although it definitely is heavier, it isn't too bad even with longer sessions. I've yet to be able to try out a handful of features like the game chat or mouse controls, because I may have spent all that money buying everything, but I'll be dead in the grave before I pay for a glorified tech demo for the console that should have been free. So I can't speak to those features quite yet, but for the features I have used, it's the Switch, again. Being entirely honest, in terms of UI and overall feel, it's almost exactly the same as the Switch 1. I do have a 4K HDR TV, so I will admit that it does look a lot cleaner and nicer. But moving on from the console, what about the accessories? As I said before, the Joy-Con 2s are amazing. I love their size and upgraded joysticks, and the individual shoulder buttons are very sleek. Above anything else though, I have to openly say that the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller is one of, if not the best controllers I've ever used. It fits so well in the hands, all the buttons and joysticks are so sleek and clean and smooth. The inclusion of the back buttons as a standard are a nice touch as well. Everything about the controller is everything I could have ever wanted it to be while playing. On the topic of the camera, I'm unimpressed. I really wanted that Piranha Plant one that came out, but I had heard that the quality was significantly worse, so I chose to get the official one instead, but I'm gonna be real. I don't know if it was just my lighting, considering it was 1:30 in the morning, but I found the quality of the camera to be dog shit, even with the higher quality camera. I'll get back to you on that as I get to use it more. Now finally, it has come time to talk about games. The launch lineup for the Switch 2, in my opinion, was super lackluster, with Deltarune and Mario Kart World being the only two major new games that were of any interest to me. The rest of the games were either ports or remakes. Although I have yet to pick up Deltarune, I did in fact pick up Mario Kart World, and I have to say, I'm very whelmed. For having to wait 11 years, all of the new things that are here are cool, but when it comes to just the basic racing portions, I thought it felt far too similar to all of the other games. Where World shines, though, is the world portion. Because if there's one thing that made this game feel special, it was the free roam portions, and all of the fun missions that came along with it. I could spend hours just driving around the map even if I'm not doing anything, and I feel like that was the point of this game as a whole. I've already beaten the Grand Prix, and I'm working my way through all the extra missions and such as of this writing. I plan on doing a larger video about Mario Kart World on a secret project I'm working on, so stay tuned for that. I won't talk about game keys here in this video because I won't end up saying anything that hasn't already been said, but let it be known that I already was not a big fan of digital games, and this is somehow even worse than that. Physical copies for life. I am super excited to see where this generation leads us and what kind of games Nintendo has been cooking up for us. And hopefully it will all prove why this console had to happen. I mean, already, since I've been writing this episode, Donkey Kong Bonanza has come out and has been a great time. You'll see a larger review for that video game next week. We also have Metroid Prime 4 to expect. So I'm going to go back to the free roam, and I'll see you soon. What did you think of the Switch 2 launch? Please stay civil and let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.